over the last few weeks, I've been posting videos of me reading college football hot takes from Reddit and from the comment section in my previous YouTube videos. Today, we'll be reading more hot takes from my YouTube comments. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. If there are any hot takes you have for the upcoming college football season, drop them down below in the comment section and they'll be featured in a future video. Alright, this comes from Matthew Gatowski. Hot take: Michigan and Ohio State both make the playoff. Alright, that's an interesting one. Michigan goes 13-0, winning the Big Ten title. Ohio State goes 11-1 with a close loss to Michigan. Ohio State's victory over a solid Notre Dame team gives them the resume to sneak into the playoff at number 4. This is a really good take, first off, Matthew, because this is a scenario that easily, I think, has the chance of happening. I mean, well, first off, I'm not going to say easily because I don't think Michigan has the season they had last year, but let's just say they go 13-0, they beat Ohio State, they win the Big Ten title. Obviously, they're going to be in. And let's say at this point, Ohio State enters the game undefeated. They're probably going to be ranked number 1 or number 2. Michigan's going to be ranked in the top 3 or 4 as well. So if Ohio State loses a very close game to Michigan, who gets in undefeated, and that's their only loss of the season, I think there's a chance Ohio State gets in. Now it's going to come down to, is Alabama in? Is Georgia in? What's going on with the Big 12? Does the ACC have any teams in? Is the Pac-12 even close to having a team in? So there are going to be a lot of variables that have to happen here, but I definitely think this isn't as crazy as a lot of people might think it is. And wouldn't that be something if somehow, some way, let's say Michigan gets in as the 2 seed and Ohio State gets in as the 4 seed. Let's just say they both win their playoff games and we have an Ohio State-Michigan national championship. That would be fantastic. All right, our next hot take comes from Ronald Smith. UCF will have yet another undefeated regular season, win the conference championship, get snubbed for the playoff once again, and win their bowl game. You forgot to include the best part is the fact that they're going to claim another national championship, which I think is actually still a thing. Like, they still have a championship banner raised at their home stadium, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. So UCF has another season just like that. I don't think they're going to go undefeated. I don't think this is as good of a UCF team as we've seen in recent years. But then again, the American Conference, I don't think is as strong this year as it's been in years past. So hey, maybe UCF, they go on a run before they enter the Big 12 next year. All right, we got Daniel Vazquez. He comes in with 7 hot takes, so I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible because this could be an entire video in itself going over 7 hot takes. USC will make the playoffs in year 3 of Lincoln Riley. So Daniel's not even going for a 2022 hot take. He's going for a 2024 hot take, saying that's when USC is going to make the playoff. Sure, let's say they make it in 2024. When Oklahoma and Texas go to the SEC, Oklahoma will be the second best team in the conference behind Alabama. That's interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people don't think Oklahoma and Texas are going to thrive in the SEC, but saying Oklahoma's the second best team, that's a scorcher one right there. A defensive player will win the Heisman very soon in the coming years. I'm on board with this. I think Will Anderson can win the Heisman Trophy this year. Arch Manning will transfer out of Texas after 1 year and go to the Trojans and will lead them to a playoff spot. So I guess maybe this connects with your 2024 USC in the playoff hot take. Clemson will not win the ACC this year. Again, I've talked about this in recent hot take videos. I think the ACC is really good this year. I wouldn't be shocked if another team wins, so I'll say that one's pretty solid. Michigan fires Jim Harbaugh in 2 years. So not only does he leave Michigan, he's going to get fired. So I guess things are going to have to get really, really bad there in 2023 if Harbaugh's getting fired. Finally, Ohio State and Alabama play an extremely low-scoring game where Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are shut down, and winner takes the national title. Yeah, if Ohio State and Alabama play in the national championship, that over-under is probably going to be set in the 70s, and I would take the over. But you think it's going to be a defensive battle, and it's a low-scoring game, so why not? We'll wrap up that with a why not, Daniel. All right, this comes from Michael Powell Jr. Kentucky goes 12-0 and loses the SEC championship against Alabama. they make the college football playoff as a 3-4 seed and win the national championship. So they got Kentucky going undefeated. All right, that's a pretty scorching hot take there, but I do like that they come back down to earth. They lose to Alabama in the SEC championship, but by going 12-1, by just missing out on winning the SEC, they still reach the college football playoff as a 3 or 4 seed. That doesn't stop them. They win 2 playoff games, and Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcats, win the college football national championship. Kentucky's going to be solid this year. I really think Will Levis is a top quarterback. I think he might be a first-round pick. I just don't think Kentucky's going to be as good as they were last season, though. I mean, I really think they peaked too early. I think that they really exceeded expectations, and I think they're going to come back down to earth a little. They're going to be slightly worse than they were last year. All right, this comes from Elite Secret. Minnesota goes 12-2, making it to the Big Ten championship game. They will make it because they are returning 6th-year quarterback Tanner Morgan and one of the best running backs in the Big Ten in Muhammad Ibrahim. They had a top 3 total defense in all of the FBS last year. If they can get key wins versus Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa, they have a legit shot at the championship game. If they only drop games to Michigan State and Penn State, only a hot take. Yeah, I mean, it was just a couple years ago that Minnesota was, competing for a spot in the college football playoff, I believe. I think they were ranked pretty high, and they kind of just fell back down to earth the last couple years, but I think Minnesota has a chance to be much better than they were last year. They have a lot of solid talent returning. I do agree that Mo Ibrahim, getting him back this year after he missed all of last season, is definitely going to be huge for them. I think there's some winnable games there, like you mentioned. If they can beat Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa, those are 3 games that they could easily win. I think they might have a chance at reaching the Big Ten championship. Now, do they win the Big Ten championship? Most likely not, but hey, if they're able to even get there, I think that would be a successful season for the Gophers. The next question comes in from WolfHD. Sophomore quarterback Tyler Buchner leads Notre Dame to a win against Ohio State and becomes a top 10 quarterback in the country, leading Notre Dame to a 10-1 record throughout the season. However, Notre Dame and Buchner lose the last game of the season to USC, kicking them out of the top 4 in the rankings. Yeah, I don't know what the spread is in that week 1 matchup between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Last I looked, I think Ohio State was a 2-touchdown favorite, so personally, I think the Buckeyes easily beat the Irish. So it's definitely a hot take saying that Notre Dame is going to go on the road and beat Ohio State. I'm very interested to know who you have Notre Dame losing to. Who is their lone loss through the first 11 weeks? That'd be interesting to know. And then obviously they cap off the season with a loss to USC. That Notre Dame USC game has the chance to have many implications. I know a lot of people think that USC might be a playoff contender. Personally, I don't think they will be. I definitely think they'll be around the discussions for the Pac-12 title game, but definitely not a playoff team. But if Notre Dame goes into that game 10-1, they essentially are going to need a win, and they'll probably lock up a playoff spot. So if they lose, that knocks them out of the playoff. That's going to be a fun game. So a very fun take here. All right, we have 2 from Autumn McComb. The first one is Texas isn't back and doesn't get particularly close to the Big 12 championship. I could see chemistry issues, lack of defense, and or lack of offensive line all causing problems. Yeah, I know a lot of people still don't want to say Texas is back. I'm pretty high on them this upcoming season. I definitely think they're going to be competing for a spot in the Big 12 championship, but I know a lot of people think there are going to be a lot of other better teams in that conference. And number 2, USC doesn't even make the Pac-12 championship game. First year in a new system, chemistry issues. I think USC is more likely to succeed, but I think both of them likely miss out on their championship games. Again, I've talked about this before in recent videos, but I'm not as high on USC as a lot of other people are. I know people think they might be a playoff team. They think they should easily win the Pac-12, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think USC, you got to remember, this is a team that won, 4 games last season? Having them go from 4 to 11 wins, that's a big jump regardless of who you're adding. The only reason I think USC even has a chance of winning the Pac-12 is because their schedule is insanely easy. I mean, go take a look at their 2022 schedule, and it's one of the easiest out there. This comes from Notre Dame fan. Hot take, TCU wins the Big 12. An independent team makes the playoffs, and the only teams in the conference to make it to the playoffs are from the Big 10 and the SEC. Well, let's start off with TCU winning the Big 12. Sure, the Horned Frogs, why not? And in regards to an independent team making the playoffs, I'm assuming the only possible options are Notre Dame and BYU, unless you think UMass or New Mexico State have a chance? And then looking at the rest of this, I mean, we very well could see Alabama and Georgia from the SEC make the playoff again, and then you're likely going to have Ohio State from the Big Ten. So if you have an independent team, those might be the other 3 teams, so that one actually makes a lot of sense. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. Remember, if you guys have a hot take for the 2022 college football season, let me hear it in the comment section down below, and it'll be featured in a future video. Before you leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.